frustrated with the hours of paperwork you do every day? Do you want a more cash-based business? This video or podcast will give you the key to eliminating over 40 hours of paperwork while streamlining your service-based business to accept automatic payments seamlessly. Hi, this is Dr. John DeWitt with SimpleChiroMarketing.com and SavingLivesThroughMarketing.com. Our office went from 100 visits a week to over 700 a week with less paperwork. If we can do it, you can too. In this particular episode, we're going to talk about the security of your personal information. There's a lot of fears out there about identity theft. This is going to show you the steps that Cash Practice takes to protect that information. Enjoy.
Away from all the, well, actually, one more thing I'd like to ask you, for the people that are paranoid with all the identity theft and all the craziness that's out there online, what has Cash Practice Systems done to help protect all the information that the members are submitting for that?
Great question. So security question. So let me go through a couple things about security, and then while we're talking about it, I'm going to tell you one of the major ways doctors get money stolen from them, where they get embezzlement happening. So the way we've taken, from the standpoint of protecting credit card data, first of all, what you should be doing in your own practice is making sure you're not keeping credit card data in a readable format. What that means is you're not making photocopies of credit cards, you're not writing numbers down in any way and keeping them in a written, where you have the full number revealed. So there's things that you on your practice end need to do. From the standpoint of what we've done is there's these rules and regulations called PCI DSS, which stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards. An analogy would be it's basically the HIPAA of financial data, meaning there's rules and things you have to do in order to protect the security or protect people's financial data. And you have to follow these rules, and that's, for example, why I'm saying you don't write these numbers down, you don't keep them in a readable format. Cash Practice is PCI compliant. We've gone through all of the things we need to do to make sure that the data that you entered is protected. For example, when you enter data, everything's done through a secure connection. So when you're on our website, everything's done in a what's called a SSL certificate, where you'll see that you'll see that when you're on any kind of shopping cart, where instead of it saying HTTP : in the domain name or the URL, it says HTTPS. That S means it's secure. It's encrypted. In addition to that, when you submit information to our system, once it's submitted, everything that's put in the database that's financial in nature is encrypted. So if someone was to look at our database, whenever we go directly into our database and look at it, we don't actually see credit card numbers stored in there. We see a bunch of letters and mixed up characters. That's an encryption of the credit card number. So even if someone was to gain access to the database, which they're not, the data is encrypted. The next thing is once the data is entered and you go to retrieve it, let's say you want to pull up someone's credit card number to then go ahead and process a payment because it's left on file, that credit card number, you and your staff will only have access to seeing the last 4 digits. You won't ever see the full credit card number again. It's in the database encrypted, so it's available to be used to process, but from a visual standpoint, you only have access to the last 4 digits. And there's a host of other things that are done in order to make sure that the data is secure and secure and safe. The data center where we have all of our data at is in Chicago in a PCI compliant data center, where that center is under surveillance, all the rules that need to be followed, meaning that's behind firewalls and there's virus protection and all that kind of stuff to make sure that the data itself is secure. And doctors, you should be aware that in your office right now, if you're storing, let's say you're using some software program that's not Cash Practice, you're using some software program that's installed on your computer. So you have a computer sitting at the foot of your CA. It's under the desk where the CA sits, and that computer has the database on it where you're processing payments with some other software. If that's the case, there's a very good chance that you're not PCI compliant. Reason being is that computer, first of all, the credit card data means it's sitting on that computer. What's to prevent someone from breaking in your office and stealing that computer and actually taking it out of your office and then doing something with that data? When the computer is in your office and the data is secured, the data is there with the credit card information, the requirements for you to be PCI compliant is much higher. It's like twice as many requirements. For example, that computer would actually have to be locked in a secure room under surveillance with a keypad entry in order to go ahead and get access to that room. Now, I don't know any chiropractors that are doing that, but that's what you would actually have to do as an example. So we keep it really simple that when you're using Cash Practice systems, that component of the PCI compliance is taken care of for you. Now, we also make sure that your computers are being scanned. So we have a service with a company called TrustWave that once a quarter they scan your computers to make sure that they're safe and secure and nothing's going to happen electronically to get access to data inappropriately. So there's a number of things, and if doctors want to learn more about it, they can actually go to cashpractice.com, and there's a link that says PCI, and they can just click on that, or they can just go to pci.cashpractice.com, and when they do that, they'll see that there's all the information you need to know about security. I want to mention one other thing, and I mentioned before about this whole thing about theft and embezzlement, and I want to share this because it's a common problem I see in chiropractic offices, and that is doctors who have credit card terminals in their office. Let me ask you this question. John, would you ever give a stranger or someone your ATM card, give them the PIN number, or if it didn't require a PIN number, would you give it out?
No.
No, of course not. Nobody's going to do that. And in essence, your credit card machine is that. It's exactly that. Meaning if I wanted to steal from you and I was an employee from you, what I would do is I would know to sit at my front desk and be an employee, a good employee, and I would then take either my credit card or a family member's credit card or a friend's credit card, and I would simply swipe your terminal for a refund for $50. Nothing you're going to really notice, probably something you probably won't notice at all because refunds happen all the time. And probably I know that as a doctor, you're not checking the details of your merchant statement as clear, as much as you should
Right.
be. And what ends up happening is I refund I put a refund on my credit card for $50, and then I go to the ATM and I withdraw it. And I can do that week after week, month after month. And I know doctors who've had tens of thousands of dollars stolen from them exactly that way because a credit card machine does not require any security in order to put a refund on a credit card. Whereas with cash practice, you cannot do that. It is impossible to do that. The only way you can do a refund or pull money from your system is, first of all, you have to give your staff authorization to have the ability to even do that. But when they do a refund, it's not done where you swipe a card for a refund. What you have to do is you have to find the original transaction that happened. So let's say, John, you paid me $100, and I need to refund you 50 of it. So I would have to go back and look up the original $100 transaction, and then I would push a button that says, put $50 back on that original credit card. So there's no way for me to take a blank credit card, someone who's never had a charge on it from me, and then put a refund on it. It's only going to be able to put a credit back from an original transaction. And that protects the doctor from embezzlement, whereas using your terminal in your office does not protect you in that way. So I bring that up.
That's huge.
It is huge. And unfortunately, I know some offices that have had sickening amounts of money stolen from them that way. And part of it's the doctor's fault because they weren't diligent in making sure their accounts were being balanced. But nonetheless, nobody likes to be a victim of being, of embezzlement.
Wow, that's insane.